Hello and welcome back. I am Lord Revonworc, and this is another half-assed last-minute Creepy Month special. Now, since last year's Creepy Month special, I've been trying to decide what to cover for this year's special. Part of me wanted to discuss Psychosis and the Asylum series by Matt Demarsky, some of my all-time favorite creepypastas. And for a while, I was seriously considering doing a profile on the Jeff the Killer series of creepypastas, since they are clearly inspired by this holiday's namesake film franchise. But ultimately, I decided the best option was to discuss Awful Hospital, as it only very recently wrapped up its first phase, with Phase 2 set to begin today. So what is Awful Hospital anyways? Well, it's a webcomic created by creepypasta author Jonathan Wojcik. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Wojcik? It's probably Wojcik. I'm just going to call him Bogleach from now on. That's the name of his website. Anyways, Bogleach is known for writing horror in this really weird, over-the-top, cartoony manner. His earlier works tended to feature monsters of an almost joke-like nature. He'd think up things like filthy hospitals filled with crawling insects that were really oversized bacterium, or a dentist who was a pair of teeth in a giant rig of braces with limbs who tried to make forced, unnatural small talk. Or a veterinarian who was a hand puppet of a flea that liked to drink blood because, flea. There was always a certain sense of humor to his horror setups. One of his most noteworthy projects before Awful Hospital was a creepypasta called The Burger Entries, spelled with 3 R's, which involved the world being taken over by these bizarre, perception-altering meat monsters, obsessed with feeding the world some sort of mystery meat that made people's heads explode for some unknowable goals. In the end, the main villain is revealed to be a giant living hamburger, and the narrator of the story even comments on how fucking stupid that was. And that's Bogleach's style. Throw some unfortunate protagonist into some horrifying scenario that would be objectively silly if it weren't so horrifying. Which brings us back to Awful Hospital. Awful Hospital is what I've just described, but much longer and fully illustrated. It follows an initially unnamed mother whose infant son contracts some mysterious and horrifying disease that normal doctors can't even seem to perceive or comprehend. Then, one day, the mother wakes up in a strange hospital that she quickly comes to realize is otherworldly. Now, this story is nowhere close to done, but it's already got way too many twists and turns for me to discuss here and now. So I'm just going to focus on the broad strokes here. Now, as you can see, this webcomic's aesthetic is very cartoonish, intentionally. It's like that to reinforce the silliness theme I've already described. An Awful Hospital totally keeps true to that theme. You remember this guy? He's one of the story's secondary antagonists. And there's this scene where he gets caught inside of one of those box propped up by a stick traps. Seriously. But don't think that means this webcomic is just jokes, though. In a different scene, the same character also essentially has a family executed. See, this inherent silliness is used to contrast with the horror elements. And there are plenty of those. Just take, for instance, this scene where the main character enters a cafe and is offered a free cup of coffee by the coffee cup-headed barista. Yeah, that's kind of messed up. But then later in the comic, the barista gets replaced. The new barista was actually another villain who was put there as a way of neutralizing him. Think in Dishonored, where you can take out assassination targets without killing them, but the way you have to do it makes you wonder if maybe that person would be better off if you'd simply killed them. Condemning a person to an eternity of intense pain as they pour out their brains for other people to consume seems like a pretty harsh punishment. I mean, the guy was a dick, but... And here's the thing. The main character winds up going back to the coffee shop to see how the new barista is doing. And she gets offered another cup of coffee when she does. Now you're probably wondering how they could possibly top the last cup of coffee. I mean, you'd think after the first time, it would be damn near impossible to replicate that feeling effectively, right? Well... yeah, they definitely topped it. And here I am, basically out of time to discuss this webcomic, and I've barely even scratched the surface. Hell, I didn't even get a chance to mention that it's actually one of those interactive webcomics where the readers post suggestions for what the main character should do next. But it is a really great webcomic, and one I absolutely adore. And with Phase 2 beginning today, on this most spookiest of nights, I definitely look forward to seeing where Bogleach takes it from here. So, until next time, I am Lord Revonworc. This has been great, and I will see you all next Hello-ween. Bye! Also, I'll be getting up more gaming videos before next Halloween, but, you know, saying I'll see you next Friday doesn't exactly have the same ring to it, so, yeah, bye.